Do you know that Motown artists back in the day, like the Supremes and Marvin Gaye, actually had to attend a Motown etiquette school? Motown Charm School is run by Maxine Powell. She taught the artists public speaking, posture, walking, stage presence, etiquette, and personal grooming. Maxine Powell actually studied African-American cosmetology at the renowned Madam C.J. Walker Training School in Indianapolis.
You know, they came from humble beginning, and some were rude and crude and from the street and the project. But with me, it isn't where you come from, it's where you're going. How to handle a mic, you see, so that the mic don't handle you. I don't want you ever to lean forward. You do not protrude the...
We would go into artist development at Motown and work on a song, and it would take hours. And we put in hours every day learning, but still keep that sophistication and to keep it sexy and to keep the rock and roll. I applied everything she taught me, and I can't really do anything now without thinking of Mrs. Powell. If I sit, if I talk, if I walk, if I carry myself at all, Mrs. Powell is there.
Come on, give me body and shape, body and shape. Pose.
Beautiful. Hi. You look so cute, beautiful. Y'all look so cute, beautiful. Thank you. Cut the camera off.
During the Reconstruction period, which was directly after the Civil War from 1865 to 1877, whites who were racist were so disturbed and threatened by the possibility of an educated and literate black populace that they attacked over 600 schools. However, that didn't stop black freedmen from obtaining an education. Three important things happened concurrently while these attacks happened. Number one, black folks pulled together their resources, no matter how meager they were, to hire teachers, to build buildings, and to provide any other resources they needed. Number two, the adults were just as committed to getting an education as the kids were. And then there's Bishop James Hood, who helped increase black student attendance to 49,000, and he also helped draft a constitution in North Carolina that provided free education for all. So what's the takeaway? We need to pull our resources together to make sure our kids have everything they need educationally. As adults, we also have to be committed to education as well and understand that we have probably been more miseducated than some of our kids are being right now. And lastly, we need to raise and support politicians who are progressive and focused on educational equity, especially in our community.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and thank you for joining me here on Conversations with Taz for Talk About It Tuesday. As always, make sure you check out the links in the description of this video. There are some great resources if you want to begin your journey or continue your journey on learning Black history, specifically here within the United States. And also, Taztastic Tuesday, the short audio podcast is also available today. Link is in the description, and there's a link in the bio as well. Whew, child. My apologies for not joining y'all yesterday, but I was tired. But let's jump right on into it. Fox News is under yet another large lawsuit, but this is a roller coaster, honey. Grab a snack, grab a beverage. I'll see you in 2 and 2. Y'all know how we do.
Good evening. I'm about to talk to you about a little thing in the legal world we call discovery. You see, when somebody files a lawsuit, it moves into a phase where they try and negotiate things and see if they could kind of take it out of the court system. But when that doesn't happen, they go into discovery, which is subpoenaing information. Everybody say it together, our favorite word. Subpoena. Again, discovery. You're discovering things. You're asking for documents, and the other party has to produce the documents that you ask for. So after the 2020 election, Dominion Voting Systems filed a defamation lawsuit against Fox News. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. And now we've been in the discovery phase. And during this discovery phase, we got some very interesting text messages from people like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and none other than Laura Ingraham, and some emails from Rupert Murdoch, you know, the dude that owns Fox News. And some of them are the tastiest little tidbits of tea on this side of the Atlantic. So we're going to run through some of my favorites. And to shout out to Midas Touch for these wonderful little graphics. Tucker Carlson to his producer. Trump is a demonic force, a destroyer. I agree with you, sir. He is none other than the Satan reincarnated as the Antichrist. He's a horrible human. From an email of the owner of Fox regarding Rudy Giuliani and watching him live on his own channel. Really crazy stuff and damaging. Another good one from Tucker Carlson. What Trump's good at is destroying things. He is the undisputed world champion of that. Sir, I can agree he's bankrupted every business he has ever owned. He could easily destroy us if we play it wrong. Really, Tucker? And how is that? Tucker Carlson to Laura Ingraham. Sidney Powell is lying, by the way. I caught her. It's insane. Laura Ingraham to Tucker Carlson. Sidney is a complete nut. No one will work with her. Ditto with Rudy. It's unbelievably offensive to me. Our viewers are good people and they believe it. Sean Hannity talking about Trump allies about their election fraud claims. Fucking lunatics.
We have so much evidence, I feel like it's coming in through a fire hose.
Wow. So, Sydney, you feel that you will be able to prove this. Do you have the software in your possession? Do you have the hardware in your possession? How will you prove this, Sydney?
Well, I've got lots of ways to prove it, Maria, but I'm not going to tell on national TV what all we have. I just can't do that.
It turns out that the evidence wasn't coming in through a fire hose. It was coming in from a random email from a stranger who described herself as, quote, wackadoodle. Now, Maria Bartiromo knew this, and she booked Sidney Powell anyway. Also in this email was a claim that Justice Scalia did not die in his sleep on a hunting trip, that he was killed at an annual Bohemian Grove event. It's another one. And that Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes, who again died in 2017, huddle every day to decide to portray Trump as badly as possible. So the common thread here seems to be blaming things on people who have been dead for a very long time.
The woman also claimed to get her info from, quote, experiencing time travel in a semi-conscious state that allowed her to see what others don't see and hear what others don't hear.
So mushrooms?
So
acid? What are we doing?
So apparently,
DMT, is it Joe Rogan?
Apparently Fox executives all know that Maria Bartiromo is also crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And you just have to watch her show once.
And so Gary Schreier, one of a Fox News executive, said, this was part of the evidence, the problem with Maria is she has GOP conspiracy theories in her ear, and they use her for their message sometimes. And that's who they have on the air all the time.
Yeah, if you guys were not aware, in a parallel move to Russia propaganda, Kevin McCarthy gave all the footage of January 6 videotapes, all the security cam footage, to one news network, Fox News. No other news network has that. They gave it to Tucker Carlson, who's literally claimed that it was a casual stroll through the building. It has locations of secure areas where people can hide during the event of, say, an insurrection. Yeah, Kevin McCarthy did that. Where you at, Garland?
He exaggerates. He's non-literal. In other words, don't believe what Tucker Carlson says. Those were basically the legal arguments made by Fox News lawyers. Arguments that ultimately convinced a federal judge to dismiss a defamation lawsuit filed by Karen McDougal. The judge said that Fox's attorneys persuasively argued that, quote, given Mr. Carlson's reputation, any reasonable viewer arrives with an appropriate amount of skepticism about the statements he makes. These are quotes directly from Fox's defense here. It says, lawyers said the general tenor of the show should tell viewers that Carlson is not, quote, stating actual facts about the topics he discusses, as instead he's engaging in exaggeration and non-literal commentary. So it basically boils down to this: rhetorical hyperbole and opinion. The judge ruled in Fox's favor, but isn't this embarrassing for the network? Let's bring back Molly Jong fast. What's the big picture here, Molly, about Fox's lawyers saying, hey, Carlson exaggerates? I mean, we know that as viewers. I think we all know his us versus them battles are dramatically exaggerated. But they think all the viewers are in on it. Do you think all of Fox's viewers are in on it?
No. And I think what's scary about this is there are millions of people who think that Tucker is a real newscaster. And those of us who watched him for a long time know that he's not. And we know that he's very connected to Republican talking points, and he's more like an activist than even an entertainer. The problem is Fox is always, when Tucker gets in trouble, and this happens with Sean Hannity too, they always use this excuse that they're entertainers, they speak in hyperbole.
So let's get this straight. Fox News has already gone to court multiple times to say that their journalists are not journalists, but entertainers that are satirical. The current Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, turned over all of the footage from Trump's self-coup, aka the January 6th insurrection, to Tucker Carlson of Fox News. All of the head anchors of Fox Entertainment News know full well that they're feeding people BS. But they're afraid of their viewerships and their sponsorships moving to OAN or Newsmax or News Nation. They're more concerned about ratings from right-wing conservative sycophants than putting forth the truth. See, this is what happens when you allow profit margins to cause you to forget that you still reside in the country that you're helping to dismantle. Because the chaos and the discourse and the lack of actual work being handled on Capitol Hill right now, that affects each and every one of us. Because should the United States turn into a third world country, when it goes into its Mad Max era, the money you have in the bank is null and void. No one will care. That hierarchy is out the window. There's going to be no one to come and fluff your pillows. There's not going to be a security detail. But yeah, let's just keep on trucking along as if there is a separate United States for you to scurry off to when things get a little hinky. But from one story of craziness to the next, let's take a look at gun laws going on in Missouri. Y'all aren't going to believe this one.
So,
Missouri, what is going on? As y'all can see, I came across this article with the headline, Missouri Republicans vote to affirm toddlers' rights to carry firearms in the streets. I like the line below it. Yes, it's exactly as crazy as it sounds. To get into an article that has one of the greatest openings I have ever read and sounds like something I would write, in the year 2023, no one expects Republicans to have a reasonable take on gun violence like that it's a problem, or to do something about it like pass meaningful gun control legislation. Still, you might think that conservatives wouldn't be so thoroughly detached from reality that they would approve of, nay, fight for the rights of small children being able to openly carry firearms in public places, because that would be, to use an official legislative term, fucking insane. Can you guess where we're going with this? In a turn of events that absolutely defies logic, the Republican-controlled Missouri House of Representatives voted on Wednesday to reject an amendment that would have banned minors from being allowed to openly carry guns on public land without adult supervision. This is America. To be clear, the proposal rejected this week was not seeking to ban minors from openly carrying weapons on public land, period, but simply from doing so without an adult supervising them. But apparently even that was too much for the state's conservatives, who quite literally believe it's fine for actual kids to walk down the street carrying guns. The proposal was defeated by 104 to 39, with just a single Republican voting in favor of the ban. Now, see, I already had incentive to not go to Missouri because, you know, but I am now officially gonna mark Missouri down as a place I am never going to visit. I screenshotted a lot more of that article. I'm not even gonna read it in this video. I already know somebody watching this video is gonna comment something like, well, come on now, let's be fair. What else did the amendment include? Something about gender-affirming care? You liberals always trying to sneak stuff in with your amendables. The fact that over 100 people voted in favor of kids being able to carry firearms without adult supervision is lunacy, and I'm not gonna lie, it's got me stinging with frustration. If there's anything in this world that constitutes as being asinine, acid 10, acid 100, it's that. Let this sink in, y'all. Conservatives would rather let a 14-year-old girl carry around an AR-15 without adult supervision before they let her get a schmabortion. In case you were curious about the current state of the Republican Party, they are beyond saving.
And before anybody goes, well, what's the likelihood of a small child or a child carrying a gun? Have you not heard of school shootings? Let's not forget that recently we had a school shooting occur by the hands of a 6-year-old child. And before you go, oh, that was a one-time thing, I want you to take a look at this. Take a look at this.
I thought I wasn't going to have any content today, but then I realized I lived in America and all I had to do was wait. For the second time in 2 months, a 6-year-old in Virginia brought a handgun to school. Now, thanks to MIL, nobody got shot. And I, for one, am ecstatic that the mother is facing charges.
See, the United States has a very, very, very robust and long-standing history of not addressing its actual history, its actual issues. The United States will constantly tell you to look over there while things are messed up right here. And they'll tell you that the boogeyman looks like this when it doesn't. And then everybody sits back and goes, oh, I'm shocked that this is the actual boogeyman. Why? Why are you shocked when everything in media shows you who we should be afraid of and what the solutions are? But see, you're so ingrained in your misogyny and your racism that you are willing to consistently believe that it's the Black, brown, and indigenous people of color what goes bump in the night. But we do not have entire networks dedicated to the savageness of the crimes committed. We're not out here fighting for babies to receive a pacifier, a bottle, and an AR-15. Just some food for thought. And before you go, well, we need good guys with guns. Yeah, wasn't that the methodology behind the police force? And let's take a look at what they've been up to recently. Buckle up.
A new lawsuit alleges that a mentally ill man who was arrested for firing a gun during a welfare check froze to death in an Alabama jail's freezer. Anthony Mitchell's family had called police for a welfare check, noting that he had been taking the death of his father very poorly and had said things to them like that he believed his stillborn baby brother was in the attic and that there was a portal to hell under the house and that he could go to the afterlife and help them. His first day in jail, he was tased by police and his false teeth came out. They were placed in a plastic bag and they were not returned to him, so the family suspects that he was not given solid foods for 3 days. He was then restrained, practically naked, and put in the freezer, where officials believe he died of hypothermia. This is an ongoing investigation. Something worth noting is that the Alabama jail fired the corrections officer who released the cell phone footage of Anthony Mitchell being tortured before he died.
So let's not penalize the officers who thought that it was appropriate to take a whole human being and put them in an industrial freezer. Let's fire the person who decided that this murdered individual deserved justice and that this shouldn't be swept under the rug and lied about. But Blue Lives Matter, right? Last time I checked, they weren't Smurfs and they're not avatars. Outside of the blue people in the hills of Kentucky, and that came from a genetic mutation due to generations of inbreeding, no one's born blue. Your occupation is what you choose. This is not the movie Ants, where everybody is lined up and told what their lot in life will be. But y'all have no problem with the blue flu. You just have a problem with it being called out. And before you go, but we need the police. They solve so many crimes. They prevent so many crimes. No, they don't. No, they don't. This is why so many people are now reliant upon genealogy and ancestry tests and DNA to get answers. Because if the cops were really worried about protecting and serving and it wasn't just a great tagline and PR campaign, things like this wouldn't still exist in the United States that is marketed as a melting pot. Take a look.
I don't normally post this late, but this isn't going to wait. San Jose, California, a street vendor is just trying to sell his products, and the owner of a business close to where he's set up decides to do this.
Why didn't you leave? Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh. Get out of here. Leave.
Why?
Get out of here. This is illegal.
Why? ¿Por qué me pegas? Take it easy.
I'm gonna,
Take it easy.
No.
Take it easy, sir.
No. This
Take
is wrong.
it easy.
This is illegal. You being illegal, you
Why?
reporting that? No problem. Go ahead. You are criminal.
Yeah, why?
Yeah. No, go. You're not getting. You want to do this? You want to do this?
This problem is for you, not for me.
This is my property.
It's not for police.
It's my property.
Yeah.
You call the police here.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
them you're doing
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm gonna break your car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah!
Hey, sir, take it easy. Hey. Sorry. Don't do that. Okay. This is poverty area, my friend. Go. Take it easy, sir.
Mark, get this one.
Yeah. Why?
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Go. Go. I think we're gonna have everybody
It's
doing video
Inter
here.
Auto Parts.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring it.
Okay. This one no good, eh?
Oh, this is no good.
Yeah, why?
No good.
As you mock him, parroting back, this is no good in that little racist way you did. But I like what you said just before that. You said bring it. So here we go. You harassed and threatened him with violence. You damaged his property, knocking over coolers and his products and so forth. You threatened him with lighter fluid at one point. You said you were going to damage his vehicle, and you went and got in it and did damage inside of it. Then you came out and at least twice made contact with him physically with your bat. You also handed a shovel to your other employee, implying that he should use it on him. And you did all that while calling him illegal and saying, go ahead and call the cops, because people like you love to believe you can get away with stuff like this based on what his immigration status might be, and you can't. You kept calling it your property, so does that make you Kenny Ho, operation manager and vice president of Intex Auto Parts? I mean, it's hard to know for sure. This image is 13 years old, but could be. Regardless, you're still responsible, even if that was just an employee. And based on the Google and Yelp reviews, people are already letting you know, but quite frankly, that's not enough. So I hope that the local press picks this story up and that local law enforcement comes and has a real serious conversation with you about why this wasn't okay.
See, the tenets of white supremacy can be upheld by anyone. They can be internalized by anyone. And this is why we say that the model minority myth is detrimental to everyone. Everyone. Because when you convince yourself that you are no longer a person of color, that your adjacency to white now makes you white, and you now have white privilege, and you can walk around and demonize and assault and commit crimes against people of color. Hey, colonizer. Because while you're walking around with your chest so puffed up and telling this man that he is illegal and what he's doing is illegal, while you are committing a crime against him, you just spit in the face of every civil rights leader, every person who has stood on the correct side of history since the inception of the United States. You spit in, because it was on the backs of Black men and women that you are able to stand freely in this country and run a business. And if you think that I'm reaching without stretching, darling, I never do that. Google is free. Libraries are still open. We'll peruse the parameters of the history section. Now, before we get into the Black History Month ad, let's, because 'tis Mardi Gras season, let's get into the history of Mardi Gras beads. See you in a bit.
Okay, but you got to show me something first. You want to know why we throw beads on Mardi Gras? It's because of Russians. Specifically, the Russian Grand Duke Alexis. He came to town in 1837 to visit the newly founded crew of Rex. And it was during that visit that the crew of Rex decided to use the Grand Duke's royal colors for their own. And then later they gave those colors meaning. For example, purple now represents justice, gold represents power, and green represents faith. And they would toss these beads to people in the parades who exhibited these particular traits. And if you caught the beads, you were said to have good luck for the next year. Now, originally, these beads were made out of glass, but today they're made out of plastic, and you don't even have to exhibit these traits to get them. All you got to do is show me something.
Black people stand up, feel good. Be proud of yourself as you should. And if you darker than the brown paper bag, wave your fists in the air, time to make these haters mad. They treat us like we came from the sewer, and everything we do, they try to outdo us. We made the traffic light, they write tickets. I ain't got to tell them, they already know where to stick it. We made the subway, they got scepter. Now everybody eating off of that except us. One thing we known for is our bravery, and Paul Kufi was an entrepreneur during slavery. You wonder why we like t-shirts that's white? Maybe because we used to pick cotton in another life. For Granville Woods and Maggie Lena Walker, put your lighters in the air now and spark up. One of the things that they never made clear, why Black History Month the shortest one of the year. Just one of the things that make me think.
Woman who was a pioneer of modern nursing and saved soldiers' lives during the Crimean War. No, not Florence Nightingale. I'm talking about Mary Seacole. Born in Jamaica to a black businesswoman and doctress, or a healer, and a Scottish lieutenant, Mary Seacole really blended the burgeoning field of Western medicine, thanks to her dad's connections in the British military, with traditional medicine. She was an expert in combining both healthcare and self-care. So Mary was already a world-traveling nurse when the Crimean War broke out. After being denied a place in the official contingent of nurses that was being sent to support the British troops, organized by Nightingale, she just went to Crimea on her own and set up her own business. Her British hotel, as it was called, was basically just like an outpost perched in the middle of the Black Sea that she herself built from driftwood, packing cases, and other salvage materials that she found on the journey there. There, she provided refuge for British soldiers. It was basically a place where they could get basic medical care, good food, entertainment, and rest. Seacole knew the importance of hygiene and basic healthcare. She aided wounded soldiers directly on the battlefield, but she also understood that there was more than just traditional healthcare to nursing, right? At her British hotel, she hosted a famous French chef, and she would serve tea and other herbal remedies to wounded soldiers. So next time you're feeling bad, take a page from Mary Seacole's book. Go get checked out by a trained professional, but then come home, brew yourself some tea, and eat your favorite feel-good food.
Now, this next story is going to be a build-up, okay? I'm going to show you a plausible journey how one becomes such an egotistical, misogynistic passport bro, and how that is connected to the whole Andrew Tate, Kevin Samuels type of mentality. Now, we're going to start with the Disney scam family.
Meet my son, Cannon, our thrill-seeking boy who can't get enough of Disney theme park rides. The only problem, you ask? He's just not tall enough for the big ones. But we didn't want that to stop him from feeling the rush, so we took matters into our own hands and crafted a shoe that just might do the trick. With the help of towering heels, extra flip-flop bottoms, and some Gorilla Glue, we've possibly discovered the ultimate beauty.
Hey guys, I just learned a new hack for the parks. You know when there's these rules and safety guidelines? Well, I just found out if you don't care about your children's safety, you can make some shoes. Story time from Disney. Now, if you follow me on a regular basis, you know that I used to be a cast member. That's me. I'm not sure if you've all been following this lovely family. Sorry, did I say love? I meant exploitative. This exploitative family that takes their children places and does it for videos. Well, they just figured out that if their child who was not tall enough, let me say that again, their child who was not tall enough, they could put him in fancy shoes and then he could ride whatever he'd like to ride. Why didn't I think of that? All right, because I care about my child's safety. Yeah, right. Everyone say hello to the content creator that has 1.2 million followers. And what do they teach that 1.2 million followers? That the rules do not apply to them. Neat. Let's start off by saying, how dare you? Not only how dare you put your child in danger like that, but how dare you make follow-up videos saying how it was totally okay? I caught him in a live saying, I mean, if you wear boots, it'd be the same thing. It would? Then why didn't you put him in boots? If it was the same thing, why did you take the time to make the shoes? And then now they're making videos backtracking and gaslighting how it's totally okay for them to do this. Is it now? Totally okay, huh? That kid didn't get hurt. What am I getting all worked up about? I'm just a hothead who can't let other people's children have fun. Or you made a terrible parenting choice. And that goes for any parents who make their children special shoes for rides. Height requirements aren't always about the height, folks. A lot of times it has to do with mass. Your physical mass and how much it can handle certain movements, certain jerks. Seems like they know all about certain jerks. Never stuff your kids' shoes. At first, when I thought about making this video, I saw it and I thought, we need to have a conversation about why height requirements are important. But then, the family made another video. Without taking the blatant disregard of rules and safety regulations down, they just made another one.
Ever put my kids in actual danger. That's number one. Number two, I would never condone any other parent trying to put their kid on a ride that they're not tall enough or something that's not safe for them.
You did all of those things! Come back for part 2, I'm not done. Mitch!
Now, I know a lot of people have seen these videos and dissected the videos down for safety reasons. Very, very valid reasons, but I want y'all to go on a journey with me. What do you think that they're teaching this 6-year-old boy? He wants to do something that the rules say he can't do. Mommy and daddy show him, just break the rules. because you want to do it, you're entitled to do it. See how this mentality starts? Now, the next video I'm going to show you is a part 2 to a young man getting his feelings hurt because he asked a young lady to be his Valentine. She politely said no. And now there are so many people in the United States that are coming to his rescue. Despicable.
Yep. The Today Show titled it, he was rejected, so they came to his rescue. Rescued him from what? He's not Timmy in a fucking well. He is a boy who asked a girl to be his Valentine, and she, from all sources I can find, politely declined. He chose to do it in a very public way. We've got to stop teaching kids to do that. It's manipulative because it puts the recipient on the fucking defensive. It puts them in a position where everybody's watching, and now you have to decide something in front of other people. And in this case, the media got word of it because the mom posted it to her Facebook, and the media has spun it that this little boy is the victim and that girl is being demonized while he's being coddled. The comments on the actual poster from the other students are absolutely, oh, you can do better. You can do better. As though this girl did something fucking wrong. As though she's nothing. As though she's less than nothing. Planting the seeds that if a girl says no to you, she's beneath you. That's bullshit.
If you can teach your daughters and young women that rejection is a part of life, why can't you teach little boys and young men the same thing? Why is it always, she's going to miss out. She doesn't know what she's missing without you. You're the product. No, you're not. Just because you want something or you desire someone does not mean you're entitled to them. You don't get to be coddled because someone told you no. This causes you to grow up and not see women as individuals and as people. And any type of pushback you take personally, to the point where now you have a group of men fleeing the country because they say that United States women are too materialistic, just want you for your money, too opinionated, to go get women that they have to pay to bring over here and must promise to sustain them while here. Lord, the hypocrisy. But, and these people who have these issues seem to love getting stranded. Let's take a look.
What up, y'all? I'm here still in DR. I missed my flight last night. I just got off the phone with Spirit. I'm waiting on them to call me back. It's a $100 reschedule fee. Basically, I need a cash app, guys. I need a cash app to try to get this fee together, man. I'm so sick right now. I'm sick as hell. I've been trying to call Kayla because I know she's like in the area. So I was trying to call her to set something up to where I can get some actual money because I'm hungry. I have very little bread left. I maybe got $15. I'm just calling on the subscribers now to see can I get another 100 to get the reschedule fee. They try to make me book for a whole nother ticket. I can argue with that guy. I don't got them customer service with Spirit for had to be at least 45 minutes. I'm damn near, I don't know if y'all can hear, I lost my voice yelling up there and then yelling at customer service. Yeah, man, this trip turned out to be so bad, yo. This trip was so crazy, guys.
Yo, first of all, if you're not following my page, you need to click that plus sign. Follow my page right now. I'm top 5 hated man by other men on TikTok because it's that raw. So listen, man, another passport bro. He is stranded in DR. Oh my God. He's stranded in DR. How did you get stranded in Dominican Republic and you from America? It's certain situations as a man that you should never be in. You're from North America and you're stranded in DR. That means that you knowingly hopped on a plane with limited funds for a vacation and then had the nerve to miss your flight and had to pay the extra hundun. That extra huncho hurt your pocket. Woo, huncho, that extra huncho hurt your pocket. Like, bro, how did you get stuck in the yard? See, this is why women don't respect y'all, because y'all are irresponsible, okay? And the same way how you got stuck in the yard with limited funds is how y'all be leading women into destruction when they decide to follow y'all and be cooperative with y'all. This is why women don't be wanting to cooperate with y'all. Like, I gotta keep it a thou wow. That is true. You feel me? That's true. Y'all gotta be more competent, yo. You passport bro dudes, y'all gotta be more competent. You know what I'm saying? Because you're grown. Like, yo, how did you get there? Like, how did you get Nobody's supposed to be here. I tricked and spent up my last dime. Oh, 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 no, no.
This trip, guys, has been hell. Literally, yo. My content, this sub-content, the beefs, the trolls, the haters, my content, my life. Do you guys understand? It's downsides to being famous, yo. I'm going back to the zoo Memorial Day weekend, straight up. I just can't stay away, man. But I'm gonna have my budget right this time. I can't stay away, yo. I cannot stay. I cannot, man. Straight up, I can't. It's tough. It's like a gambler's addiction. It's just tough, man. It's tough to stay away, bro. It's tough to stay away, bro. It's super tough. I'm fine. So what's up? I said. Oh my God. I can't stay away. I can't stay away, yo. I can't.
I don't know what's more sad, the fact that he considers himself famous, or the fact that, did y'all catch that he was on Spirit Airlines? He didn't have $100 to reschedule his ticket. He had $15 left. A young lady that he hooked up with in the Dominican Republic, or met, she's not coming to rescue you, baby. See, these passport bros act as if the internet only exists in the United States. They see your content. They know why you're coming. They're about to use you up. Honey, you think that they're not accustomed to the different types of tourism that happen globally? Mail order brides are not new. Men traveling the globe looking for a traditional wife, aka mommy 2.0, aka a slave to bring home, is not new to them. There are women who are raised as to how to get U.S. citizenship and then bring their actual, factual, real families over and will take over your shit and put you out. But okay, you don't have $100. It takes between $800 and almost $2,400 to get a fiance visa in the United States. That's just the visa. And you also have to keep in mind how the United States is marketed to all these different countries. So how are you going to sustain that lifestyle for these women you want to come over and cook and clean for you and bust it down on command? And see, a lot of these men that become passport bros are still butthurt from the first time, like we saw with the little boy, with the Valentine. He gonna carry that for the rest of his life because he's been coddled. He'll make a little coin. He'll have a little glow up. They didn't want me now, so I'm going to be mean to every woman. But we women are emotional. We women are emotional. Now, before we move on to Marjorie Taylor Greene, now I know everybody is waiting for Ron DeSantis to just go ahead and officially admit that he's going to run for presidency in 2024. He held a speech in front of about 150 cishet white men in Staten Island, New York today. But just like Trump, I keep telling y'all the similarities are there. He's facing a lot of lawsuits. And just like Trump, he wants other people to pay for his defense. Take a look.
Governor Ron DeSantis unveiled his record-setting budget proposal. He is asking lawmakers for $114 billion to run the state.
But News 6 investigator Eric Sandoval uncovered he's also asking for money to fight a growing number of lawsuits.
Yeah, Matt and Ginger, you know, many of those lawsuits are challenging some of the governor's policies. We found out his office alone is asking for more than double the money they currently have to fight those court battles. That price tag is being paid with your taxpayer money. From his decision to transport migrants,
they went from Texas to Florida to Martha's Vineyard,
to his signings of the so-called Stop Woke Act, and the Parental Rights in Education bill.
The battle against Don't Say Gay is far from over. It doesn't end today.
Governor Ron DeSantis' policies are being challenged. News 6 counted at least 17 lawsuits that have now been filed in state and federal courts, and taxpayers are picking up the tab.
I think that people don't understand. They think that the Attorney General represents the governor, represents the state in all actions, and that's not the case.
News 6 political analyst, UCF history professor Dr. Jim Clark says independent law firms are now being hired to represent the governor and other state agencies.
They have cost the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars.
And we found out that cost could go up a lot more. In his budget proposal to the state legislature, News 6 uncovered a line item where DeSantis is asking lawmakers to set aside $4 million for his office's legal defenses over the next year. That is a 250% increase from this year. Notes in the proposal cite a large number of cases and the need to hire outside counsel to handle the litigation duties. DeSantis is also asking for $5 million for the State Department. That is a 400% increase that he says would go to help fight lawsuits related to elections and other issues. At the same time, he proposes slashing the $2 million litigation budget for the Office of General Counsel, which has been representing the state in some of these cases. The Attorney General's budget would stay nearly the same.
The question is, do you expand the Attorney General's office to handle these at 1/10 of the cost and save the taxpayers millions of dollars?
For comparison, we checked the budgets for other large states, and California's litigation budget has nearly doubled over the last year, while Texas decreased its budget. Now, we contacted the governor's office several times over the last week to get them to add more context to this, and they never responded to our request. They have pointed out in the past, though, that the money is not the issue here. They say Florida actually experienced a record economic growth over the last few years, has $15 billion in reserves. This budget proposal needs to be approved by the legislature first, though, and of course their term begins at the end of next month.
Boy, those are all healthy numbers for sure.
Yeah.
Now, this money is going to independent law firms. How much money are they making?
That's a very good question. We found out, actually, they're making millions, and I mean millions of dollars. We checked the last fiscal year. One law firm alone made $1.5 million off legal work they did for the governor's office and for the Department of Education. Based on that caseload, the number could go up a lot more, and we're talking exponentially.
So the lawyers, they're winning either way.
Yeah.
See, Ron DeSantis makes all of these Henry Ford, Hitler-esque legislative moves. He's not worried about the repercussions. He's worried about how it looks to his racist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic constituents, his voter base. And in his mind, white people aren't the global minority. In his mind, the vast majority of the country is filled with hatred. And he doesn't have to pay for anything. Because once again, the GOP is grifting on purpose, and a grifter's gonna grift. Just like he now has his woke busters that can go into schools and check children's bags to make sure that they don't have any of the banned books. Because yeah, that's the problem in schools. But let's get on to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is now calling for a Civil War 2.0. This is why education is elevation, and very much so needed to be taught properly. Because y'all, the South never rose. South destroyed itself and is still recovering. But let's get into it.
Everyone's favorite Facebook status come to life is back in the news. You know who I'm talking about? She supported a theory claiming people in government were Satan-worshipping pedophiles, and then she went to work alongside them. Does this ring a bell? Maybe you remember this viral clip where she dangerously implied the Capitol insurrectionists should have been armed.
If Steve Bannon and I had organized that, we would have won. Not to mention, it would have been armed.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene we're talking about. We all remember her, right? The former owner of a CrossFit gym, aka the place where people want to become trucks. We remember her, yeah? She was all weirdly obsessed with QAnon.
Q is a patriot. We know that for sure.
If you forgot about her, you aren't alone. House Democratic leadership rendered her somewhat useless when they stripped her of her committee assignments in 2021 after she encouraged violence against Nancy Pelosi and peddled conspiracy theories like claiming the mass shootings in Vegas, Parkland, and Sandy Hook were staged, claiming the 2018 California wildfires were caused by Jewish space lasers, and falsely suggesting a plane never crashed into the Pentagon on 9/11.
We had witnessed 9/11 and the so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It's odd, there's never any evidence shown for a plane in the Pentagon.
But today, with Republicans controlling the House, she's back to work on two committees: the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability and the House Committee on Homeland Security. Recently, MTG has said that the Oversight Panel, which focuses on government-wide accountability, could arguably be the most important committee, which is also what I say about teams I'm on. She said, Joe Biden, be prepared. We're going to uncover every corrupt business dealing, every foreign entanglement, every abuse of power, and every check cut for the big guy. She'll work in tandem here with Paul Gosar and frenemy Lauren Boebert, who she got into an argument with over Kevin McCarthy in a bathroom near the House floor. MTG and McCarthy have what appears to be an unlikely yet unbreakable bond, a sign that the establishment understands the party is shifting further to the right. So far, this bond has been good to her. In addition to the Oversight Committee, MTG has been given a seat on the Homeland Security Committee, a committee focused on combating terrorism. This is an interesting fit for MTG, given that she said we would have won if she had led the terrorist attack on the US Capitol. I guess it's good to have a person on the inside. The committee is also focused on election security. It's worth noting MTG still hasn't backed down from her false claim that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump. Despite how it seems, MTG isn't just an NPC selling dietary supplements for a pyramid scheme before going home and posting on Facebook. She's posting in the House of Representatives with more power than she's ever wielded before.
Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Oh! Borgflick McYeast is saying for red states to secede. Please fucking do it. Just do it. See how quickly you'll come begging blue states for a handout.
Perjury Trader Greed is on a hot roll today, so let's get right into this one of two-part tweets that she sent out. The left is forcing our children to believe in gender lies and biological males in girls / women's sports and spaces. She's never cared about women's sports and spaces unless it's about trans kids. Anyways, let's see. ESG politics has taken over corporate hiring and culture. They don't respect our borders, and national security have bound LEO's ability to protect and still forced vaccines we don't want and are high risk. Our people are drugged out and many are homeless.
Marge, you voted against all that shit. All right, let me go. Forced woke training in our military. We are broke, 34 trillion in debt, and Biden says America will support war in Ukraine to the end. It feels irreconcilable. Comes in real fast. She got here before Chidi. She says, yeah, it seems like all the way beyond your control, Marge. Irreconcilable for sure. I, for one, would totally recommend that you just give up, pack your things, and go back to Georgia. Who agrees? I do. Brian pulls no punches. He says, a congresswoman calling for the breakup of the United States of America. That is Angel D. How much of the 34 trillion debt was caused by Republicans, Q Marge? Trump added $7.8 trillion in 4 years, but now it's President Biden's fault? Ranch BB, he comes in and says, you were very fortunate to live in this country. Other countries would not be so patient with your threats and lies. Michael comes in and says, yes, but you yourself are vaccinated and boosted. Here you are trying to lead the anti-vaxxers. Not only that, Marge owns lots of money in vaccine stock. Helbor Arts comes out and says, the military leaders came out and said there is no woke training and recruitment deficits have nothing to do with wokeness. It's nice of you to lie about the military incorrectly in their defense when they themselves tell a different story. It's not very American of you. TLC says, you are not in session right now. Remember, you posted your schedule. Why are you posting on your government account? Somebody needs to come and take Sporkfoot's account away because she's just a hot mess today.
Last year, people in Georgia took Marjorie Taylor Greene to court and tried to get her disqualified from running based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3. What that says is you can't hold office if you have engaged in rebellion or insurrection. And her involvement in January 6th was pretty undeniable. However, the Georgia cave woman suddenly couldn't remember anything. And the judge bought it. And so she was able to run again. She's now doubling down on her disloyalty to the Constitution, which she was sworn to uphold. She says that we need to separate by red states and blue states. Will anybody care about this edition of sedition? No. She really wants to separate blue and red states? Georgia went blue last presidential election cycle, so she'd be with us. And plus, I love all of these, conservatives from red states jumping up and down saying that we don't need blue states. Who do you think is funding your budget? Quick reminder that this orangutan sits on the Homeland Security Committee.
So, Congresswoman Green, I want to make sure I understood you correctly. Mm-hmm. Were you saying that we should have a cooling off period to say people should not be able to vote for a couple years if they move from a blue state to a red state?
It would be something I would highly recommend with the mass exodus of states like California and New York, where people that have lived in these Democrat states all their lives and really just don't know any other way. But then when they move somewhere like Florida or Georgia or Texas or another red state, and they always love it. And they are just praising how wonderful it is. But yet at election time, they turn around and vote Democrat like they always have. Well, they really are like newcomers ruining our beautiful red states and trying to change the values that we have. And I think a smart thing for Republican states to do would be say, you know what, we love for you to move here. We welcome you to our state. And if you like the way it is, we want to keep it that way. So a cooling period would be great. You can still vote in federal elections, but maybe we don't want you to vote in our state elections for a while. And that's something that they could do in a national divorce. I don't know, give them maybe 5 years, 3 to 5 years to realize and learn why the red states are the way they are. And it's because of Republican votes, not Democrat votes.
If you can hear the screaming, that is the ACLU already preemptively filing a lawsuit.
The budgets for red states are funded due to the profitability of blue states. Are we just going to forget Governor DeWine of very red Ohio is damaging his state, and it is trickling down to Kentucky. You're absolutely right. What values? They value child grooming, child brides, no bodily autonomy, misogyny, and hatred. Ooh, what great states. Their states are the most violent, the most uneducated, the most in need of resources for children, and the most utilizing of socialist benefits. But okay. But okay. I guess. As always, thank you for joining me. I do have one more nugget for you, a little more Black History Month factoids, and I will see you tomorrow with my lovely co-host, the resident ginger, Mr. Chris, for Get Into It with Taz and Chris. And as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Till tomorrow, y'all.
Let's talk about the most dangerous place in America you've probably never heard of.
A lot of black people came up missing. That's why it's called Bloody Lounge.
I'm Garrison Hayes, and this is the Black Defiance Mixtape, my Black History Month series in partnership with Participant. Lowndes County, Alabama is a small town between Selma and Montgomery, once known as Bloody Lowndes.
I had an experience that kind of pulled the curtain back for me. There was a young black man who tried to wave us down. I didn't think anything about it, but my friend got really upset. She wanted to go tell somebody about it, and he was killed that night.
And even though the county was 80% black, in 1965, there were 0 black people registered to vote.
There were no black people registered to vote in Lowndes County, Alabama, out of some 5,122 who were actually eligible to vote.
And the way white folks in power made sure of that was through violence. But this town became the birthplace of the Black Power movement. And the steps they took, the moves they made, are all recounted in firsthand detail in the new documentary Lowndes County and the Road to Black Power. I really love this film. It's streaming right now on Peacock. Check it out.